Alfred, what's the situation?
Quite the rat infestation, sir. GCPD sent a squad to flush them out, but the police have gone silent.
People of Gotham. Batman Arkham Shadow is the latest entry in the fabled Arkham Asylum series, and this time it's not a live service shooter. It is a VR game, and because it's a VR game, it's been played by our very own Ian Higton, the VR enthusiast. So what's it like? What is Batman Arkham Shadow like? Because this is a big, like, VR killer app, and those only come around once, like, a year or a decade.
Honestly, it's a game that is going to really, really annoy Arkham fans who don't have VR, because it's cracking. I've got to say, before we go any further, right, this is a review in progress. I haven't actually finished the game yet. I've played a lot of it, like many, many hours. It's a big game. But the game got accidentally released last night, so like the embargo's lifted. So amazing. Like all the reviews are going up. So I just want to give you lot the lowdown now that this is an absolutely cracking entry into the Arkham series, right? But it is only available on the Quest 3 and the Quest 3S. So if you are a massive Arkham fan and you don't have VR, you're missing out on something truly special here, because I've been having a wonderful, wonderful time with it. This is an authentic entry, right? This is as authentic as you can get to the Arkham series. It takes place before Arkham Asylum. It kind of bridges the gap between Arkham Oranges, and Asylum. And it has all those core pillars of the Arkham games that you would expect from a game from the Arkham series.
In terms of an experience, how does it hold up? Because obviously this is an entry in a series full of like full fat AAA games from the 360 or onwards. How does this compare to that?
You could spell Batman with 3 A's with this one. This is a AAA amazing VR game, if ever I've seen one, right? I probably have a couple of hours left. And even if those last couple of hours were the shittest, like, VR game I've ever played, like, massively fumbled the whole thing, like, still the journey up until that point is incredible. It really, really does feel like an Arkham game.
How does it make you feel like the Batman in that sense? We're talking, like, gadgets. Mm-hmm. Are you able to explore, like, chunks of Gotham? Is it open world in any sense?
It does a great job in making you feel like Batman, probably more than the flat games, because you're actually there, right? You're in Batman's body. You have a full body rig here. It's not just floating hands like you might see in some VR games. Okay. You can look down and see Batman's suit. He has all his armor on, where you can like pull smoke bombs from his arm. You can pull the Batarang from your chest. You have the classic, it comes later on in the game, but you get the explosive gel gun, which you can use to break walls and things, which are hanging on your hips and stuff. So you're reaching around your body, pulling out all these Batman gadgets. But also, this game has a wonderful physicality to it. So if one of the first things I did when I played it was like I was going through this there's a lot of crouching through vents and tunnels and things. And I kind of touched the wall with my hand, and Batman's character model fingers, they react to the wall, and they run across the surface of the wall as if it's a real solid wall. So it just really grounds you in that experience. When you're traversing the environments, for instance, sometimes there are really big, long sections you have to get across, and you have to glide across with your cape. And when you do that, you spread your arms, holding down the triggers, and it kind of brings Batman's cape up out. And as you're gliding down, you see Batman's iconic shadow of his wings and his like helmet, like as you're getting closer to the ground. It's just everything comes together to really like immerse you in Batman and his world.
How does the exploration work in this game? Because obviously one of the big things about the original Arkham series is that you don't necessarily have like the entirety of Gotham, though they did that once and it was with mixed results. One of the great things about the original Arkham Asylum is that you've got that entire kind of complex to explore, and it's a bit Metroidvania, bits are locked off, but it feels like a real place that you can sort of delve into. How have they handled that sort of thing?
So I think in terms of level structure, this is way closer to Arkham Asylum than any of the others. So it feels open worldy, but they're also quite small, compact open worlds that twist around on each other, Metroidvania style a bit. So when you start the game, you start off as playing as some kind of random hoodlum, and it's quite linear. You do a little intro section where you have to sneak along this rooftop past a window with some cops behind it, and then throw a Molotov cocktail at the bat signal lamp, and then you get arrested, and then it turns into a Batman game, and the whole first section happens underground in some sewers, and what you're doing is you're hunting for a new enemy called the Rat King, and underground in these sewers, they're quite fancy sewers. They've got like big electronic locked doors and things. I don't think they're like real. So these are special Gotham sewers, I think. But it feels fairly linear. There are some bits where you can go, you know, back in on yourself and stuff. But at the end of that section, you emerge out onto the Gotham rooftops, and you get this wonderful view of like neon lights and big Gotham buildings. Very, you know, very gothic and moody, but also wonderful lighting effects. There's some fireworks going off in the distance. And it feels there, you're like, wow, Gotham's going to be massive and huge. And it does, like, it tricks you into thinking that. Whereas, you know, once you've played it for a little bit, you realize that the streets are actually quite tight. And it's not super open, but it feels big and imposing. And that is a great kind of intro to the game. And that bit, while it feels a bit linear, lasts about 2 hours, and then after that something really weird happens, because you end up going to Blackgate Prison, right? And Blackgate Prison is where you spend a lot of time, and it is very much like Arkham in the original Arkham Asylum game, in that, you know, you spend a lot of time going backwards and forwards, looping around, finding new areas, and it feels right. Do you remember Chronicles of Riddick, Escape from Butcher Bay game?
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
it has some great Escape from Butcher Bay vibes, which I really appreciated.
Yeah.
So you can take it kind of at your own pace. You can wander around, listening to prisoners talking. You can do like combat challenges and stuff, which you can earn a little bit of money for, and then you can go to this shop and you can buy posters and things to like decorate your cell, because you have these days where you go around and you follow the story, and at the end of each day you go to sleep. It kicks off a new day, because it's like a countdown to a terrible apocalyptic event that the Rat King is planning. But you can, you know, you could just mainline the story really quickly, or you can wander around. There are like people in the cells there that Batman fans will recognize, and you can hear bits of their dialogue, bits of them chatting.
That's incredible.
Really cool, like, attention to detail that, again, really grounds you in the world and makes you feel like you are in that prison environment. So it's not just rushing you through, it's absorbing you in the world. You have the option to rush through, but if you really want to just become part of the prison environment, sure, do it.
That's incredible how it's like they've really lent into this kind of tactile kind of physicality to the whole thing, like even mundane stuff, like, you know, just sort of like scraping your hand across the wall, or picking like individual gadgets off your body in the way that Batman does. Like, I love that it's got like a utility belt simulator. That's brilliant. In terms of that physicality, what is the combat like? I'm presuming there's a lot of like one-to-one punching and stuff that goes on, right?
Well, this is one of the things that people are like, how is this going to translate to VR? Because the Arkham games combat is very rhythmical, and Batman would take on multiple enemies, and you kind of dance from one to another, performing finishes, and like you'd skip around, like, and in VR, it's almost like, you know, how am I going to tell if I'm being attacked by multiple enemies? How am I going to tell someone's coming up from behind me? How am I going to tell people attacking from the side? How does the combat work? And it is like a rhythm game, almost like Guitar Hero for punches. So when you approach an enemy, you ball your fists up, and the game, you know, understands that you're holding down the trigger and the and everything. And then if you punch towards an enemy, you'll zip towards them nice and quick, just like you do in the flat Arkham games. And you get on-screen indicators for like a circle, you punch straight, you get a direction arrow for like hooks. If you hit a guy enough that he's weak enough for a finisher, sometimes you get a prompt to grab him on the shoulders and pull your arms down, so Batman kind of kicks him in the solar plexus and they fly off.
Wow.
But if someone's coming to approach you from the side or behind, you'll get like a bat sense indicator come up, and you kind of just lift your hand and Batman's viewpoint instantly switches to the person who's attacking you, and you block them, and then you follow up your combos there. So if you're really good and you don't like mess up on the online prompts, it feels like a dance. It feels like an amazing combat rhythm. It really has this incredible flow to the combat that translates really well from the flat game. And also you get these amazing just crunchy punches. Occasionally Batman will snap someone's leg as well. When you get in the flow of it, honestly, it just there's nothing like, no feeling like it. It's like, I said this about a game called Synapse, which let you use force powers to throw things, but it's effortlessly cool. Obviously you have to expend a bit of physical motion to do these things, but you just feel like you're beating off a bunch of opponents. That's probably not the best phrase, but no, it's so good. It's so good.
Does all that beating off get tiring? Like, are you knackered by the end of it?
I've been playing it for a fair amount of time, and it's not too bad. My arms do get tired a little bit in extended fights. There's a couple of bigger boss fight style moments where you got to take on a lot of people. That can get a little bit tiring, to be honest. I've been playing it all sat down though. Obviously you can play a game like this stood up. It's probably better stood up, but it works absolutely fine sat down. So not tiring really in that way. I think if I stood up for the entire 6-7 hours I've been playing it so far, definitely would be tired, but it's been quite relaxing being able to play it sat down. I have, however, punched my wall on multiple times and my knuckles still really hurt from it. So if you have a tight confine for your VR, just watch out, because this game will have you spinning around and
also if you have animals or a toddler, make sure they're far away from
definitely
you.
Lock
I mean, that is total
room.
Immersion though, right? You know, because Batman punches a wall every now and then.
In fact, you have to punch walls in the game to
I can imagine that. Just have a special wall set up just for that bit. You'll feel right in there. And when I think about, I don't know about other people, but when I think about Arkham, the main thing that comes to mind is leaping around the rafters.
Oh yeah.
And because even like this is just such a iconic part of the whole Batman Arkham experience, is like hiding in the rafters, dangling from gargoyles, picking guys off one by one and scaring the shit out of them generally. So you're like, you're tactically taking them out, but you're also like instilling fear in the rest of them as you do it. How does the game handle that?
I mean, it handles it perfectly. Again, you get the whole, like, I don't know why there are so many gargoyles in Gotham, but there are. You do the whole Predator mode, it's called, where you will be able to jump up onto a gargoyle and survey a small open arena of enemies patrolling. These gargoyles, you can jump from one to another, observe routes, and then you can do the whole, if you push forward on the right thumbstick, you kind of go and hang upside down. It doesn't turn your vision upside down or anything like that. It's really good for like keeping your contents of your stomach in this game. But you do you get the simulated hanging upside down, where you can then, when a guard comes underneath you can reach your arms out, grab the triggers, and you'll zip down, pull them up, and then let go, and they'll hang upside down. You can jump from jump to another gargoyle, and guards will see this, they'll get panicked, they'll bring their guns up, they'll be on alert, and they'll have alerty patrols for a bit. If they see you, they'll shoot their guns at you, but you can quickly drop a smoke bomb and then disappear back up into the rafters again, wait until they calm down. You don't have to do it from above either. You can go into grates, like sewer grates, and like sneak around underground below them, and then jump up and grab them that way. Put your arm around their neck and like use motion controls to kind of choke them out. You have to twist them left, right, left, and then they drop down on the floor. Yeah. So yeah, all that Predator mode is great, and again fits very well in with the Arkham series, just like it does with the detective mode as well, because there's kind of like these three pillars of an Arkham game. There's the combat, which it nails. There's the Predator mode, which it nails, and then there's detective mode, which you know, because Batman is a punchy detective, you want to have some good detective stuff in this, and you do here as well. A little tap on the side of your Quest 3 or Quest 3S brings up detective vision, and then you know, you can do this in Predator mode as well. So it helps you survey the area for where there are little vents, little switches, maybe hidden routes to collectibles, things like that. So yeah, even this detective mode bit, it is all in keeping with the Arkham series.
So it nails those, as you say, the three pillars of the whole Arkham experience. And just getting around.
Shortcut.
Yeah.
How does that? Because obviously, you know, one of the real kind of friction points between, you know, your traditional kind of flat AAA game and your VR kind of killer app is just like how you move around the space is so different.
Yeah.
And exploring some pretty vast areas is a big part of this. How does it handle that sort of thing?
It handles it really well. I think a VR game can live or die on how frustrating its motion controls can be. Yeah. Sometimes, you know, you don't want to play a VR game where you're trying to climb a ladder and it's just like your hands won't do what you want or anything. You can climb ladders in this game if you really want, and it's nice and accurate with how you do it. But Batman has his grapple hook gun, so you can just shortcut climbing ladders, just grapple hook everywhere. You just literally look up at something, you get an indicator, you press A on your controller, and it's like zoop up there, like you're. You know, same for
you know, for a celibate, he's always shooting rope, isn't
he? He is, yeah. Filth! I can't believe you've done this, Jim. No, it is a great. Traversal feels really nice. There are a few fumbly bits here and there. Sometimes, like you have to grab hold of edges to like and pull yourself up to. Get into a vent, which I found fiddly at times. And the bit I mentioned earlier where you bring out the back cape and glide along, sometimes that wouldn't work for me. I don't know if it's because I wasn't like bringing my arms up and out as flamboyantly enough as I should have done. Perhaps I was a little bit too relaxed. Maybe you need to exaggerate your motions a bit. I don't know whether that was user error or not, but Traversal, it works on the higher side of,
like 95% of the time it's fun, sort of thing. Okay, I mean, you know, I mean, there's plenty of flat games that don't nail it that well. So
exactly.
So in terms of, I mean, you touched on like collectibles and stuff like that. This is how long would you say this game is? Like 10, 12 hours? I'm getting the impression.
Like I said, I've not completed it yet, but what I will say is that it will be significantly longer if you want to go and get all of the collectibles. There are so many collectibles around, and you know, just like the older Arkham games, some of them you can't get to until you've got a certain gadget, perhaps. There are areas that you can revisit from Alfred makes you like a temporary bat cave in this weird old chapel thing, and there are early areas of the game you can revisit there to hoover up collectibles you might have missed, because there's so many of them dotted around. There's like 130 odd collectibles of different types. You've got like Rat King statues, you've got Rat King propaganda radios that you have to find and rip out of the walls, smash on the floor. Then there's like little SD cards you can find around Blackgate Prison, which have patient interviews between famous Arkham characters. So yeah, for lore lovers as well, this game just is packed full of lore that kind of extends. It tells a backstory, a lot of backstory about Batman. I'm not like, I feel like Batman has a different backstory for every single game, or like different style of IP, but like in this one you find out about you see little flashbacks to Batman's youth, just after his parents are murdered. Spoilers. And how he grows. I don't want to say too much, but he grows up with someone, and I wasn't aware that he grew up with them. Like, there's a character you see him grow up with as a child, which I wasn't aware of. So, but yeah, so much lore in there as well.
Sticking with the theme of replayability, there are leaderboards and stuff like that, right? You can.
Yes, that's right. There is a challenge mode which allows you to take on waves of enemies, or also do little small predator arenas. So the ones where you're jumping from gargoyle to gargoyle. So you can go a few rounds with a bunch of enemies and then see your name up on the leaderboard if you're doing well enough, or you can practice your stalking abilities and try and take out a whole area of enemies without being seen.
So this is mentioned earlier. This is an exclusive to the Quest 3 and 3X, which are like really premium headsets at the moment.
Yeah.
Is it a looker? I mean,
oh god, it is a hell of a looker. It is really a beautiful game. Like, honestly, I was stunned by how good the graphics are. Like, there's the bit right at the beginning. You start off in this little apartment. You open up a bathroom door as this random hoodlum, and like you can see yourself in a mirror. You can do a little dance in front of the mirror. The mirror effect is really good, and yeah, it's just that all the textures are really nice. Like, everything you pick up and look at is nice and sharp and crisp. The lighting's wonderful, and all the assets, like everything in Arkham, is just like Batman in terms of like big and chunky and rough, and it's kind of like everything. It's kind of has this like moody tint to it. Like, when you're out in Gotham, it's raining. You can see the lights reflecting on the floor. It is a real looker. It really pushes the Quest 3 to its limits. I can see why it is. Definitely wouldn't be able to work on a Quest 1, Quest 2 as well. I don't think. Maybe they could downgrade it a little bit, but they're using this to sell Quest 3s and Quest 3Ss, because this game is bundled. You can buy it separate for, I think, about 40 quid, just under 40 quid, but it's also, like Asgard's Wrath 2, it is going to be bundled in with a Quest 3 and a Quest 3S as well, which, absolutely bundle that in there. If you're this is a good enough reason to buy a Quest 3. As you'll ever need.
I imagine it's going to shift quite a lot of them, because, I think the Quest 3 is such a good proposition, especially if you compare it to, going slightly off piece here, but because it does a lot of the stuff that the Vision Pro does. It might not do it quite as well, but it does it, and it does it well enough. But it also, now it's got this massive AAA game from a really respected series and all that. I imagine this is going to be hopefully quite a moment for VR generally in terms of the mainstream uptake.
Yeah, honestly, I hear a lot of people saying, oh yeah, I really do want to try VR, but there's not too many games I want to play on there, whatever. This is 100% like, if you get a Quest 3, it's really annoying that it's not on the PlayStation VR 2 as well, to be honest. But if you if anything was going to get you to buy a Quest 3, it would be this. This is honestly one of the best VR games I've played to date, I think. Definitely the best I've ever played on the Quest 3.
Anything bad to say about it? So it's all very glowing so far, apart from the various issues you had that could be put down to, your body.
My flimsy arms, yeah. There are a few negatives in terms of performance. Coming into new areas, things can judder a bit. After I played for a very long time, whilst recording onto the headset as well, I might add. So this could add pressure onto the CPU or whatever, but the visuals started breaking up a bit. I was getting kind of almost like a TV static effect, which I couldn't get rid of until I restarted my headset, so maybe it was getting too warm or whatever. And occasionally I got a bit confused because it seemed like Batman would give me hints for puzzles which I hadn't reached yet. Like, there was one area where I was climbing up a wall and he was talking about firing explosive gel on 3 locks.
If I plant 1 charge on each clamp, I can blow off the entire limpet lock.
And I was like, where the hell are these 3 bloody locks then? And they weren't until a little bit further on, past the wall I'd climbed, which was a little bit confusing. Yeah, got triggered a little bit earlier. But they're minor negatives.
Yeah,
sure,
it's just video games, isn't it?
Yeah, sure, there was a bit of stutter when it loaded in occasionally, but you expect that in most games. You know, it's loading a big environment. The little bits of fiddliness with the motion controls could have just been down to user error. But yeah, generally, like, if you're not bothered by the occasional performance stutter here and there, the most of the time it runs super smooth, and yeah, looks great while it does so.
So in summary then, it sounds like you're having a whale of a time with it, and this is a really like solid AAA VR experience, and you would say that it's actually worth getting a Quest 3 to play this as an entry point.
100%. Like, if I had to give this a score, I think it'd be a 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
To be honest, I will be giving it a score in a later Eurogamer review. I'd probably dock it a point for everyone who doesn't have a VR headset, because they'll be very angry that they can't play it. But if you have a VR headset, if you have a Quest 3 or a Quest 3S that is compatible with this game, this is a 5 out of 5. This is a must-play game. It makes you feel like Batman. It looks great while it does so. The story is awesome. There's some twists and turns in there. The voice acting's great. The character models are awesome. So, like, and the motion capture's awesome. So, like, when people are in front of you talking to you, it's just like, it's so easy to imagine that you are there talking to these characters. It's just great. Like, honestly, a must-buy if you're a Quest 3 owner. 100%.
Amazing. And one last thing, Ian, as as a colleague, but also just a fan of your work in general, are you able to give anyone a wee kiss?
Anyone in Batman?
Yeah.
So you can
possible?
lean in and you can kiss them. I don't think I've tried to. I did stick my finger in a couple of people's mouths. Oh, and also that has reminded me of a bug that I encountered, where I tried to skip past a fight to see what would happen, and it made the AI a bit confused, and one of the characters, one of the NPCs that I was fighting, just got locked into a walking position, and I couldn't fight him, so I had to restart the checkpoint. But before I did restart that checkpoint, Jim, I put my finger up his bum.
Right. Well, we'll leave that there before you say something we need to indict you for. Thanks very much for that, Ian. It sounds fantastic.
You're welcome. Trinca. Yeah, thanks everyone for watching this little review in progress video. I'm going to be trying to get a full review written and up on the Eurogamer.net website once I've finished the game proper, so look out for that. Don't forget to like and or subscribe, preferably both. And while this little bit of Batman footage plays out for you, why not click on one of these other Eurogamer reviews that are on screen and clickable right now. Bye-bye.
Bye.